Welcome. Today I'm going to be sharing curriculum that I am brainstorming through for my uprising 8th grader. He's in 7th grade this school year, but a lot of the curriculum that I am looking through, I'm realizing that really it could be used in middle school and even be used in some early high school classes. So that is why I want to share with you, because some of this curriculum I feel like maybe things that we're not really thinking about possibly for an 8th grader. And again, it could be used in high school. So if you're looking at high school curriculum, it may be something you may want to look into also. Welcome to my channel, Learning with Boys. My name is Rachel. I am a homeschool mom. I have 4 boys. This is my last middle schooler. He is in 7th grade. He's doing a great job. He's getting ready to go into 8th. Now, I have had, with 4 boys, I've had a lot of different learners. And again, this one is so different than the rest. So I'm trying to think about things that would benefit him and where he is at. So that is what I am going to be sharing with you today, just brainstorming through some things. And a lot of it is curriculum that I may have used with my older boys, but maybe different ways or different years. So let me tell you, I have done a video on brainstorming through science because science is a hard one for me, and I had a lot of thoughts about that. And I also did one on language arts. So I will link those below and may mention a few of my thoughts on those at the end of the video. But let's go ahead and get started. I am thinking Bible because that is something we do every year. I am thinking about some type of electives, logic, entrepreneurship, computer, but I also have not discussed math or history or some type of social studies. So let me go ahead and get started. First thing I want to mention is Bible. Now, this school year, which he is in 7th grade, he is using Bible Truths. There's an A and there's a B. And obviously these are 2 different years. I don't even know how long I've had them. They've been on my shelf. One of my other boys use them. One is New Testament and the other is Old Testament. So I actually have another one on my shelf, which is C, and this is Lessons of the Early Church. So this is definitely an option. These are going well. And all you need is the student book. So they're pretty much reading scripture, and there is some application, which is great. And he has been doing it independently. Now, I do mention this, the ones he's been using a lot throughout this 7th grade year, updates, a week in the life of his curriculum he's using. So if you wanted to look at that a little bit more. Now, they do have updated books. So I cannot tell you if they're the exact same, but I'm pretty sure they are. Old Testament, New Testament. I'm not sure if it's early church or if it's something with Christ. I cannot remember. I did sort of peek at it and they look totally different, very updated. So if you don't want something as old-fashioned looking, you could definitely look into the new curriculum. But again, I feel like all you need is the students. I do have the teacher's guide for C, only C, because like I said, I probably got these used and it just came as the set. So now the other curriculum that I am seriously thinking about is Simply Charlotte Mason. They have some Bible curriculum. Now, their Bible curriculum really teaches you to dive into the word for yourself. It almost looks like something like if I got him his book and I purchased one, that maybe we could do it together. It looks like, I feel like this curriculum has been around forever, but I've never deep dived into it to really look at what they offer. And for some reason, I'm just really drawn to it right now, and it might be because of this particular student. And we do have a Charlotte Mason style in our curriculum. We do love living books, and the history curriculum he uses has a lot of enrichments and narrations. So I don't know. I've never really dove directly into the curriculum itself. But for Bible, they have a couple options I'm looking at. They have a Life in the Word. There's 3 different books, and I think they get harder. They have Growth in the Word and Strong in the Word. So Life in the Word is like Using a step-by-step guideline given in these studies, your students will be able to become familiar with any book of the Bible. Now, it does give you specific books, like I think it has James, one of the Corinthians, a few others, because the next one, which is growth in the Word, studies the Philippians, Ephesians, Philemon, and some others. It really looks like something that I would like to use, if not this coming year, maybe in high school. They also have a Romans study that looked really, really good. And this, I think it's the same idea, but it's just specifically on the book of Romans. So I wanted to share that with you in case you've never, like me, you might be familiar with Charlotte Mason, but never really looked into their curriculum. So those are my thoughts for Bible. For the curriculum my son will use next year, there is a book that I'm definitely interested in him using as one of the enrichments, and that is Common Sense Business for Kids. Now, let me just read a little bit about it for you. The chapters are brief and filled with stories and illustrations. And it says it could just as easily be marketed as a business primer for adults. So it's only 62 pages. And I know some of my other boys have read through this. So it's sort of assigned in his curriculum that he'll be using. And I'll talk about that towards the end of the video. So more than likely, I don't see why he wouldn't do that. But then I started thinking, talking about Charlotte Mason again, Simply Charlotte Mason, the curriculum about entrepreneurship. And Charlotte Mason does have a business class for younger kids. It's actually, sometimes I'm wondering, like, is this too young for him? It's called You Own a Store, and they have a few different ones. The one I'm looking at is owning a bookstore, and it's just your business math is a series of fun and living math. It is for ages 8 to 12. So that is what's throwing me off. But I do see that some of older students, even into high school, have used this. And I think it would just be a good way for him to continue his math. Like, I'm almost thinking about using this over the summer, because from what I can tell, you could spread it out over a semester, or you can really just play around with it and use it in a couple of weeks. So I am very, very tempted. I almost wish I would have done something like this for my older boys. So let me know. Maybe there's something else out there I should be looking into. I don't want it to be like a full-blown curriculum and complicated, but I want him to see sort of an idea of how a business has to keep track and use their math for it. And I think this would be something that would just be gentle in that introduction. So another book that is used in the curriculum for next year, that is Whatever Happened to Penny Candy. Now, this is a book from the Blue Stocking Guide. This is my only thought on this, is I could use this in high school with economics. And I'm almost thinking about doing that because of some of the other things that I am wanting him to accomplish in his 8th grade year. So, but this is scheduled in the curriculum we are using for his history next school year. So I think I'll just sort of weigh out everything and decide on that a little bit later. This would be a good introduction to economics, especially in the middle school years. But if you use it with one of their Blue Stocking guides, which has the questions and essays and answers and all of that, you could use it as one of the books for an economics course. So that is why I'm like, do I want to do it now or wait a little bit? So we'll see. Okay, another thing that I'm really brainstorming through is logic. Now, my boys always do logic, and they usually do it in 9th grade. So I have some thoughts there, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. But I did do a video all about logic and the importance of it. The thing about him is he does like to read. So what I'm thinking about is with books. And both of these, let me show you what my boys normally use, and that would be in 9th grade. They use The Fallacy Detective. They read through that for a semester, and then they use The Art of Argument the next semester. So that is what they've all done. Now, what I'm thinking about doing, and that's usually in 9th grade, I would like to give him an introduction this school year because I may use something different next school year. Now, the thinking toolbox and these, I'm not real familiar, but in my mind, I'm like, okay, these probably go together. And so I looked it up. And this one was, from what I understand, written first, and this one second. But this one actually should be first because it just gives you a lot of very simple intro, terms, definitions, gives you more explanation before they dive in to recognizing bad reasoning, and that's what this is. So this is a book that I could use for 8th grade and then use this for 9th grade. I could do one semester of 8th and this the next semester of 8th, because the other curriculum that I would like to use in 9th grade is the logic from master books. So I may not use this at all. Even though we really liked this curriculum, this was really good, but we used it before I knew about the logic from master books. And in my video, which I will link below, that I talk about logic, there is a book by Jason Lisle, who wrote the logic for master books, that is very similar. It's almost all the same subjects and topics, but more for adults, and it's discerning truth. And I read this to my high schooler, who's a senior this school year. We read it, I think, in 10th grade, because I thought it was very, very good. But then I was able to take a look at the logic from master books, and I realized, this is the same author. There's such similarities here, but the logic from master books, Mr. Lisle's wrote it more for the student. So that is what I'm considering. So my big thing would be like, do I do both of these books? I don't want it to overwhelm him. When I am brainstorming, I am just looking at curriculum that I'm very interested in using this 8th grade year, could even fall into his 9th grade year. And you want to ask the Lord for discernment, because you don't want to give so much work to them that they don't have time for their interest. And that is what we are really big on, is they have, all my boys, especially during these ages, had specific interest that they really took off with. And I really felt like it helped them in their growth in many areas. So I don't want to take that time away from them, but there's also subjects that I want them to be introduced. And I do feel like logic's an important thing, but it could wait another year. I could just start on one book. I haven't been through this book, so maybe something I want to go through with him, or maybe take time over the summer and look at. So just want to share those thoughts with you and give you some ideas as I'm brainstorming. Okay, another thing that I am looking into, brainstorming through, is computer knowledge. A lot of kids are interested in gaming or getting on the computer, and my son does do that, some limited, but I want him to be able to get online and do a class and know where to save stuff and how to take care of his files and just be familiar with how the computer works. So I am looking at a class that one of my other boys took from CompuScholar. And for me, this was like probably 5 or 6 years ago. I had one son that took this particular class, which is digital savvy. And I have another son, well, maybe I had two of my boys took that class. And I know one took one of their programming classes, because they do have high school classes that will do Java and Python programming. They also have web design. I think they have something that you can learn to make your own gaming, I think. I didn't look too deep into that particular one. But I do know that I was happy with just the layout and how independent it was for them. Now it is, of course, when they're on the computer learning about safety, you would want to always be there with them. I did also notice that even this particular class is 6th through 12th. So it could be, and it is a year class, could be a credit if you decide to do it in high school, which I could, but on the other hand, I really would like him to know some of these things before he enters high school, in case he takes an online class or wants to do more. So I'm just trying to decide on how much to give him in 8th grade. And really, an option would to be started his halfway through his 8th grade year and let him finish it in 9th and maybe just give him a half credit for computer. So that is an option also. Another place that I have looked into was Easy Peasy, and they would be free. And I know they did a lot of like online safety and things like that. So I'm going to look at that a little bit more because I am curious and I have time. Like, this is really just the time that I'm brainstorming. I'm talking to you about what I'm thinking about doing or what I would like to do, but don't know if it will all happen. But I am very interested in this class. I do want to let you know that Homeschool Buyers Club is the name of it, is a discount website that offers all kinds of different things. Homeschool curriculum you've never heard of, online things, curriculum you have heard of. I do know that, as far as I know, it's not like a Christian site. So you just want to use a little discernment when you're going through there. But they do have the CompuScholar on there discounted. So it's $120 for the class, but I noticed on Homeschool Buyers discount, it was $90. And I'm pretty sure that's where I purchased it many years ago for my other boys. So I'll leave those links below, and just be sure that you're checking to make sure you're getting what you think that you're getting. Sometimes it can be a little bit confusing on the Buyers Co-op. So, all right, I'll leave those links for that below. Okay, so I want to talk about the other core subjects that I did not do a separate video on, and that is math and history. Now, I did one on science, like I said, and several options. I gave simple options. I gave options that would be online. I gave options of curriculum that I already had. And also for language arts, the same thing. So check out those videos if you're interested in looking at what I'm thinking about for those. And for math, I just want to mention a couple things. I was talking to a friend today, and I know a lot of people talk about Denison Math, and she mentioned that she started using that, and it's just been so good for her because of course, he's in high school, but it's just nice because it's independent. And what I liked, what she told me about it, is that, of course, it's the videos. He doesn't just do the videos of how to do it. You do the lesson, you do the work, you check your work, but then he'll go over the problems with you. And I think that reinforcement of that is really what benefits. I know that is how it worked for me in school and what helped me through those algebra years. So, and that she really likes that part of it too. So I know that there are so many videos out there on that. And there's also Matthew C. We were a Matthew C family until my 7th grader now. Really, we switched into the year. They have videos online streaming now, and it's just pre-algebra would be a good time to jump in because it is a mastery program. So in those younger years, they're just building on all that. But once you get into pre-algebra and algebra, it sort of all just evens out there. So, but for the curriculum that I don't see why I'm going to change would be Learn Math Fast. They gave this curriculum to me at the beginning of this school year. That's why we did the switch, because I was really praying about needing some help with something. And Lord just had me email them and check, and they're like, we'll send you the curriculum. Well, they sent me all of it all the way through high school. And right now it's going really well. So I don't see a need to change that. But this coming school year, his 8th grade year, it would be pre-algebra and basic geometry. So we'll just see how that goes. We'll take it year by year. Now, for history, we have been using a curriculum called Heart of Dakota. It is a boxed curriculum. It has a Charlotte Mason style with a biblical worldview. It does have a lot of enrichments in it. We always don't do everything in these guides. There is a lot of living books, which is our favorite part about it. It does have the science, so that was one of the options for me. Now, if you are interested in living books but don't want to be tied down to a curriculum, I really suggest you at least look at their options, because I get a catalog. They do have a lot of good book choices. And I know even from different curriculum, that is how I found books, by just looking at living books types of curriculum and seeing what they had. So I do want to mention that for history. And don't get me wrong, I have really went back and forth. Like, do I go ahead and just keep doing this curriculum? Because sometimes, for some reason, homeschool moms have in their mind, if I just hand them a textbook, it would be easier. But in my heart and mind, experiencing that, I know it's not. Sometimes it can be really a frustration, especially when they're used to learning through spines and living books and notebooking. The type of reading would be not what they're used to, and they may not grasp or learn anything from it. Now, some kids, if that's the way your children are learning, and that might be the best way for them. I really think every kid is different, but even when you're using a textbook, throwing in a history read aloud is always great. So you would have to decipher best what would work for your family. I do know there's some textbooks that have the audiobooks. Like, if I had to choose, I would probably choose like Mystery of History or something, because they have audiobooks, and I think they even have some videos. So that might be another option if you're brainstorming through what can I use through middle school and into high school. So, all right. I think that's all I'm going to be sharing with you today. I am going to be probably doing some videos talking about getting ready for high school, as you are having to think about really keeping track and keeping record and knowing what is expected and making sure that you get that written down. So, all right. I do appreciate you all watching. If you are new here and you enjoy homeschool content, I would love for you to join us by subscribing. And if this video was helpful in any way, please give it a thumbs up. We will talk to you again soon.